Hey friends, what's up? It's Ashton here with Decants again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fragrance that's technically discontinued, but you can still find this really cheap, really easily. I found it for $12 on LaBelle Perfumes. I actually just tacked it onto my order. It's one that kind of caught my interest years ago when I started first collecting, but I looked things up about it. They weren't generally favorable, so I haven't picked it up until now. Really the only reason I picked it up is because of the bottle. That fragrance is Diesel Green. Yeah, this bottle actually reminds me of those old school like Looney Tunes cartoons with the little spray things. It's supposed to look like a weed killer bottle. So it makes for a unique look, but I'm not really sure that a weed killer bottle is something you should be going for if you're trying to sell a cologne or perfume. So we'll go ahead and jump into the presentation of this fragrance. We'll go ahead and get into that fragrance itself. Let's go ahead and check this presentation out really quickly. The box is actually just a cheap plastic box. It says Diesel Green Eau de Toilette Masculine 75 ml. Bottle sits right in there. On the back, it just says Eau de Toilette, has a couple of ingredients, the manufacturer, and then the badge code is actually written right up here. You can't really see it very well, but it's right there. Nothing on the top. Nothing on the bottom. It's really pretty cheap. Right, the bottle looks like a weed killer spray, so that's interesting. It says right here, it's hard to read, Eau de Toilette Masculine, 75 ml, 2.5 fluid ounces, and on the other side, Diesel Green, right there. This is all plastic. None of this is metal. When you first get it, there's a little pin that goes in right there, and you take that out to spray. So you don't want to go too heavy on this thing pressing wise because it is plastic. You don't want to break it. It just sprays like this. It gives out kind of a light mist really. And then on the bottom you have your sticker with batch code. It's pretty nice, it's pretty cool. It is a little cheesy, a little kitschy, but I dig it. That's the entire reason I bought it really. But that is the presentation for Diesel Green. So this one obviously is not super popular. On base notes it only has I think 19% as of now dislike, but on Fragrantica it's close to 50% dislike. And that does come with good reason. This is really synthetic, very obviously synthetic. Off the top you get mainly just like a muddled green scent. It's kind of hard to pick out. It's chemically very sweet and just muddled greens, which kind of makes sense because one of the things that the top has is green notes. The fur in here is not really easily discernible. You get a little bit of that on the background, but it's overwhelmed by the sweetness, that whole synthetic green scent. I know I keep repeating that, but that's really what you're gonna get off the top. There are tons of florals in this if you look at the note breakdown, but you can't really pick out any of them once this hits the mid. It's just like a jumbled mess of very light florals that come across as just all thrown together. You can't pick out any particular floral scent. It's just a very light floral tinge on the background. Once you hit the dry down, it has very light woods, again, very synthetic. They don't smell realistic or warm, and a little bit of musk, but it's not really overpowering. Honestly, it doesn't project or perform very well. I'm not sure if maybe that's because the atomizer doesn't spray out a whole lot of juice. If you douse yourself in it, you'll get maybe a few hours. I don't get fantastic longevity or projection on my skin in general. But this one does die down pretty quickly unless you really layer it on. And even when I was doing that, like I said, maybe 3 hours is the most I would get out of it. This is definitely better suited for a teenager, just the whole sweet factor and the fragrance itself, you know, it doesn't really smell masculine or grown up or sophisticated at all, 0%. So better for teenagers, not anybody older than that. It gives off a little bit of an outdoorsy vibe, but that's really the best way that you can describe it, like a cheap outdoorsy type scent for a teen. If you're a niche head or you're somebody that's really into fragrances, if you have a lot of bottles, there's probably going to be absolutely no reason to own this outside of the unique look of the bottle itself. That's really the only reason that I wanted it. If you are a teenager, you're looking for an outdoorsy type scent that's really on the cheap, then maybe this would be interesting to you. Lastly, I'll just bring up really quickly that this does have a really synthetic vibe, like I've talked about. Some people will get headaches from scents like Youp. If scents like that can kind of give you a headache, if you spray on a lot of this, it'll do the same thing to you. So just be wary if you're the type of person that can easily get affected by things like that, that you may not want this in general. But if you do get it for some reason, don't go crazy heavy because it can kind of give you a headache. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you. Tried to do this one pretty quickly because honestly this is not a complex scent. It doesn't have a ton going for it. I just like that bottle. It's cheesy, but I like it. As always, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.